Hey guys, good morning. We're going to work on lesson 12.2, which is on surface area of prisms and cylinders. And so we want to find the surface area of prisms and we want to find the surface area of cylinders today. So the surface area of a prism is the sum of the areas of the sides and the area of the bases. And so in a prism, basically what we have is we'll have a top and a bottom. Okay, and so just kind of highlight that here. So we get a top here, and then there's a bottom piece down here, and those are going to be identical. So we're going to have two that are the same, and then the sides, these guys right here, and they go all the way around. These are all going to be congruent rectangles. So the sides of a prism are always rectangles. The bases can be rectangles. Those are the green guys there. But they can be any other figure as well. So the sides are always rectangles. And that's kind of important because in order to find the area of that, we only need area of a rectangle is base times height. So we take that rectangle and then find its area. Now, the bases, which are our green guys here, again, they can be anything. It can be any shape. And so we really have to pay attention to what we have. And here we have a pentagon, so it's a polygon, which we could break up into different triangles and find the area of those that way. But we always have two of those that are identical. So it's kind of like looking down a paper towel tube. The ends are circles, and then the sides, are always the same there. If we stretched it out, it would be one big rectangle. So to find surface area, we have actually a little formula that we can use. It makes it a little bit easier. And I've talked about what each thing is. So we've got the capital B there is the area of the base, actually. So that's the base of your prism. And again, we have two of those. And that base is always perpendicular to the height. So if we look at the height here, here's our height, and our base is this pentagon at the bottom. Those are always perpendicular to each other. And so that's how we can tell base and height. They have to form a right angle. So B is the area of the base. The H is the height of the whole prism. So it's the distance between the two bases. That's my between, BTW. It's the distance between the bases. And then P is the perimeter of the base. And so we're just going to walk ourselves all the way around the base to find that value. So down here at the bottom, I've actually got a what's called a net. And so here are our bases. Here's another base down here. Those are the same. So we always have two bases. So we're going to find the area of one of those. We'll automatically have the area of the other. Now here is why we use perimeter times height. Perimeter times height. The perimeter, if we unfold our prism here, we're going to have a rectangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rectangles, and we could do each individual rectangle and then add them up. But when we unfold this whole thing, we see that it's really one giant rectangle. And if we take the perimeter of that base, that's equivalent to these links here, and then multiply it by the height of our prism, then that's going to be the area of that giant rectangle there. So it's a quick way to find the area of all of those rectangles by doing perimeter times height. And then, like I said, we're going to add our two bases here. So and that's our surface area. All right, so this is the surface area of a prism. Make sure that you're really paying attention to this. We're not doing volume. Sometimes people immediately want to go, oh, it's a rectangle and we're going to add length times width times height. That is for volume. We don't want to do that. So we've got this rectangular prism, and I can break it down. I've got, let's see, this is my longest side. So that would be, obviously this is the longest side given here. So that represents all of these rectangles here. And then we've got kind of the medium length here. This is going to be 6. And this is just kind of another way to think about it. And then our shortest side is 4. So all of these little short sides are 4 here. And so we could go and find the area of each of those pieces. So we've got this piece and this piece are the same. And it looks like this is 9 by 6. So we'll have 2 of those. 9 times 6 is 54, and then there were 2 of those, so that's 108. And then we have 2 of these here. Those are 9 by 4, which is 36, times 2 is 72. And then we have 2 of these little guys right here. And those are 4 by 6, which is 24 times 2, because there's 2 of them, is 48. So that kind of is a special thing that happens with boxes or rectangular prisms, is that we'll have 2 of each different shape. And then we can add all of those up, and that's 228 feet squared. Now, if we used our formula, and we did surface area is the perimeter of the base times the height times 2 times the area of the base. So here's what I would do. My base, it can really be any side you can pick. I'll just let this be my base because I usually think of base being the bottom, but it doesn't have to be. And so as I go and work this out, the first thing I want to do is find the perimeter of that base. So we're going to take the distance around that base, which is 9 plus 4 plus 9 plus 4 is 26 feet. And then the height, remember, is always perpendicular to the base. So this is a right angle here. So 6 feet is the height. And then the area of the base again is this rectangle. So length times width or base times height for that, which is 9 feet times 4 feet. So I'm just showing you 2 different ways to find this area. The first way, we just kind of added up the area of the sides. And the second way is using this formula. And so now I'm ready to fill it in. It says surface area is perimeter, so the perimeter was 26 feet, times the height. The height was 6 feet. So we're going to take that and we're going to add 2 times the area of the base. Guess we didn't quite finish that one. The area of the base was 36 feet squared. And so that ends up being 156 feet squared plus 72 feet squared, which is 228 feet squared. So those are our different ways. We still get the same area, but those are the different ways of finding area. Now I'm going to use my formula because I think it's a little bit quicker. So in the next problem, we want to find surface area. This time we have a triangular prism. And so surface area is the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. So we've got several shapes here. The base has to be this triangle because the sides are always rectangles. The bases can be anything, and you'll see that we have 2 of those. Okay, those are kind of the ends there. The base does not have to be the bottom of the figure. So I need perimeter of that base. Now, I'm going to put a right angle here. It certainly appears to be a right triangle. And that'll help us out a little bit. But if I want the perimeter of this guy, I am missing this third side. So we're going to do a little Pythagorean theorem real quick here. 12 squared plus 12 squared equals this little guy, c squared. So that's 144 plus 144 is equal to c squared. And so that's 288 is equal to c squared. And so we're going to take the square root. C is the square root of 288. And that's about, it says 16.97. We're going to just round that to 17. Okay, so I'm going to let this be 17 millimeters. So that helps us with our perimeter. Our perimeter then is 12 millimeters plus 12 millimeters plus 17 millimeters. And that total is 24 and 17 is 41 millimeters. Okay. And then I want the height. So the height is always perpendicular to the base. Okay, so if the triangle is the base, then the 8 millimeters has to be the height. And then we would need the area of the base. Well, the base was a triangle, so I'm going to find the area of that triangle, which is 1/2 its base times height. Well, the base and the height of that triangle is 12 and 12. So that's going to be 72 millimeters squared. Okay, so I've got all my parts. Now I'm ready to fill it in. So surface area was perimeter, which was 41 millimeters, times the height, which is 8 millimeters. And then I'm going to add 2 times the area of the base, which is 72 millimeters squared. All right, so 41 times 8 is 328 millimeters squared, plus 144 millimeters squared, and that total is 472. 472 millimeters squared is the surface area of that triangular prism. Now you could go around and find the area of each side, but I'm going to stick with the formula for right now. Okay, so surface area of cylinders. Cylinders are very similar to prisms in that we have 2 bases, and then we have our sides. Our sides, if we open it up, you can see is one giant rectangle. So if surface area of a prism is the perimeter times the height plus 2 times the area of the base, the same thing is going to happen here, except the perimeter is a circumference. So we're going to take the circumference times the height plus 2 times the area of the base.